You are now listening to the fastest show on iSports Radio. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. Welcoming you to the lap of the extra mile for today, October 5th, 2023. And today, on Sunday, the Formula One Championship comes to an end. The second round of the playoffs comes to an end. While on Saturday, in the Bathurst 1000, Australia's greatest race will commence, and the Petit Le Mans will say goodbye to the 2023 season in sports cars. And help me talk about all of this, of course, my co-host, Michael Ward.
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry I missed you all last week. I had an emergency, but I'm here today.
Yeah, we missed you, but we're so glad you are back. Hey, if you're live in the chat, make sure you comment. We'll read your posts as we go on. We're going to go ahead and get started and get into discussion on what was a light but exciting racing weekend that has passed, and we will do this briefly before we get into all the news coming up this week. We will start, of course, with our only race of the weekend. That was Talladega, the Yellowwood 500, and as I was telling Michael during the break, or before we went on, I'm mad. And I'm mad.
Why is that, Daryl?
Well, I'm mad at the strategist of 2311. If you watch the race, 2311 might as well not existed. Bubba didn't get a single stage point during the race. They both end up getting collected in the big wreck at the end because they were both shunted down the order. Tyler Reddick only 16th. Bubba, though, 23rd. And that was after, on the final pit stop of the race, Bubba was in the 6th spot. They came to pit, took far too much fuel, goes from 6th to 14th, and they can't find their way back up front.
Yeah, and if you watch the last stage, sorry to cut you off there, Bubba is desperately trying to get something going on the outside. If you go back and watch the footage, he pops out on the outside literally every lap. He's trying to get something going, can't get anything going. People don't want to go with him. And, he's just mired back there with literally no way to get to the front. And
Terrence says, good evening. Go ahead, finish up.
And he literally couldn't go up to the front. And I think if maybe, I don't know what they could have done. I think if they maybe took less fuel, maybe he could have stayed out there in the front, maybe. But it's just frustrating seeing him back there, too, because he's literally trying to make something happen, and people just weren't jumping out.
Yep. Taryn says, green flag time, let's ride. Taryn, thank you so much for joining us. And we can talk about what was causing the third line not to form all day. But the point is, you know the issue with the third line. You end up back there, and you are just mired in traffic, and then end up in the big one, which that's Bubba's plate races. He either finishes second or ends up in the wreck coming to the line. But the problem for me, this is the 8th or 9th time this season pit road has cost them a win. And at this point, I'm done with Booty Barker as the crew chief of the 23. I'm done. Whether it's the lack of adjustments on the car to get it better during the race or the messing up with the strategy in Talladega. And this was the most egregious. Bubba is one of the best plate racers in the series. Do you know they got 0 stage bonus points on Sunday?
Yeah, absolutely 0.
Not a single one. And that's been a problem for them all year. They are never in a position to get stage points, which is what you need to be successful in Cup nowadays. And they cannot get it because the setups are never right, except for one shining moment in the middle of the race, and then it goes backwards. We did see one time this year, that was at Texas, where everything went right. Now, Bubba ended up finishing third that race, but the point is, when it is on, he is on. It hasn't been on consistently enough. And I get it. Booty is a great cheerleader. We're past cheerleading. We need somebody up there that can communicate and strategize for wins. Booty is not it. It is time to look inside and find somebody else.
Well, who do you think could go up there?
That's the thing. I'm not really sure. Unfortunately, I'm not as versed on my crew chiefs as I should be. So I'm not really sure who could come up at this point. But a change has to get made.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. They've let too many opportunities slip between their fingers.
Yeah. And I think at this point, it's up to the folks much smarter than I to do it. But you've really got to sit there and have the conversation on, can we continue to do this? Can we continue to throw away wins? Because they are last in the championship. Now, you went from 2 points back because of blowing the strategy. You now go from 2 points back, a sure thing to move to the next round, to -10 at a road course. And we know how bad Bubba is at road courses. Now, last year, he finished 7th here. There's no guarantee that's going to happen again. And you need higher than a 7th this time. You're probably going to have to go and try to win at a road course with Bubba, which he has never been even close to doing. I think
it is the Roval.
Yeah, I mean, yes, chaos happens here, but if I'm telling the truth, Bubba's round is over, or his playoff chance is over. And I thought this would be the round when he would go out, but this is on the team. They didn't put him in a position to win at Talladega. Now, I think it's over. Now, if they make it the next round, I'm going to be excited, but I don't see it happening. I really don't. But at least his best friend had a good day. Ryan Blaney snatched the win from Kevin Harvick before Kevin Harvick ended up getting disqualified for a safety infraction. Byron, yeah, the window bolts forced their way out on the windshield of Harvick's car. That ends up being a penalty, and he ends up losing his second place in his final restrictor plate race. But it be what it be. You know, whether or not you think it's a good call or a bad call, it's a safety call.
Unfortunately.
But, yeah. William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Corey LaJoie, who had a great run, and Austin Cindric round out the top 5. Ryan Blaney, he's won 3 times at Talladega, and I'm pretty sure the margin of victory is barely as long as his desk, if you were to lay it out. He likes winning tight races at Talladega, which is a lot of fun for us, but man, he likes to make him sweat.
Yeah, it was definitely a close finish. I haven't seen a finish like that in a while, actually.
Yeah, it was actually a good one, and it was a clean race, to be honest.
It was a very clean race for Talladega standards.
You know, we didn't have a lot of big wrecks, and they were able to run 2 and 3 wide. 3 wide at times, but mostly 2 wide, and without wrecking, of course, until the end, where coming to the start-finish line, everybody gets cleaned out.
Everyone gets cleaned out. There's chaos happening. I mean, like, if there's one time I guess you could choose to wreck, I guess it's good that it's that it's coming to the line to finish.
Yeah. But it was a fun race, although Kevin Harvick obviously got dropped back to 38th. Ross Chastain crashed out. He was in 37th. Brad Keselowski also crashed out early in 32nd. To cover up where your playoff drivers went, Alex Bowman favorite driver, our good friend Chris, finished 28th. Not a good run for him. Kyle Busch ends up 25th, also involved in that kerfuffle on the final lap. So we are going to the Roval, and I think the only thing constant at the Bank of America Roval 400 is chaos. This is the hardest road course on the schedule, and although last year it was pretty mellow, I think you're going to see it be a lot more chaotic this time because there's some good drivers that are on the edge of those playoff standings and outside of the playoff standings. They're going to have to do everything in their power to try to win. Kyle Busch, he's in a must-win situation. Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, they need a lot of help. While Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr., if they get in trouble on Sunday, their spots are not set in stone at all. So it is going to be tight on Sunday. That means it's going to be a lot of fun for us.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to watch. Can't wait for that race. Can't wait to see how crazy the Roval gets this year.
The Roval will be a lot of fun, and it will be on the schedule next year. We'll talk about the 2024 schedule in a moment, but checking the weather for Charlotte this weekend, because this is one of our final tracks where we might see the rain tires. I don't think there's a lot of chance of rain in the area for this race. In fact, there is no shot of rain at all during this weekend. A 1% chance about 6 a.m., but unfortunately, we are not going to see the rain tires on a short track. I mean, on a road course this year. I think we had him at the Glen. I'm sorry. I think we had him sometime this year. But that is unfortunate. We will not get to see those. Hopefully, we will get to see more rain racing next year. Hopefully not like what happened in the Chicago street circuit, because that rain was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. That was definitely a monsoon.
The big news, though, in NASCAR, other than Hailie Deegan moving up to Xfinity, which I'll just be frank, I don't think she's ready, but we'll see. Folks like to say that she was hampered by the trucks. There will be no excuse when she goes to Xfinity next year in AM racing. But the 2024 schedule has finally come out, Michael, and it feels like we were only waiting for that for like several months. Just felt like it would never come out.
Yep, and so I got to ask, what race are you looking forward to the most?
Well, we'll go through the schedule here quickly before we go to break. Actually, we are right up against the break, so I'm going to make you guys wait until we come back. And we're going to go through the 2024 schedule in NASCAR. We'll be right back here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey yo, what's up? It's your man Bishop, the voice of This Is KC Sports, the show where we go over the Chiefs, the Royals, KC Current, Sporting KC, MU, and oh yeah, if we got time, we'll even throw in some of that KU stuff from my people on the 913 South. Come and hang out with us every Sunday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
Well, what is up, Carolina Nation? This is John Felipe of the Carolina Cast, of course, the podcast of, by, and for the Carolinas, right here on IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm reminding you to tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the latest in Carolina sports, whether it's the Panthers that keep on pounding, the fly natures of the Hornets, the storming Hurricanes, the battle of the Blues with Duke and UNC, the fight of the Clemson Tigers, or the amazing atmosphere of any Carolina college. I'm talking App State, I'm talking ECU. I've got you covered. Once again, tune in for the Carolina Cast with me, John Felipe, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we are back here in the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your feed for all that is sports. Daryl and Michael here with you this evening. We're going to get into the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series schedule that was just released finally yesterday. We will start with the LA Clash at the Coliseum. That will not be a points race. That'll be on Sunday, February 4th. Thursday, February 15th, the duels at Daytona start at 7 p.m. We will not be on the air for that one because we will be watching the duels. Sunday, February 18th, the Great American Race, the Daytona 500, is on Fox at 2:30 p.m. Then we go to Atlanta, Las Vegas, and Phoenix to begin the NASCAR schedule. And what you see there, Michael, is that it is a truncated Western Swing. Auto Club, obviously not on the schedule. They're supposed to be refitting it to a short track, but if we're going to be honest, I think both you and I can say that ain't happening.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
We haven't heard a lick about it, so it's probably not happening at this point. March 17th, we go to Bristol Motor Speedway. That is going to be a 3:30 p.m. start. That race will be on the concrete in Bristol. We will not have any dirt on Bristol this year. I am fine with that. You know my feelings on the dirt race. We then go to Coda, Richmond, Martinsville. Texas is back in the regular season with a race on April 14th, a much cooler day than what was held last season. Or this season, where it was the hottest race in Texas history, where the temperature was over 100 degrees. And Michael, what do you think of these next five?
These next five?
Or the five we just went over?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm loving it. I think it's interesting that Texas is now back in the regular season. I'm not too sure about the Bristol start time. I don't know. I guess I'm so used to the start time that it already has, but I think it'll be pretty good. And yeah, so far it sounds good. Not too many complaints there.
The big one, Richmond, will be on Sunday, March 31st. That race will be on Easter night.
Oh, wow.
So that race will be at 7 o'clock. After Talladega, our next five will be Dover on April 28th, Kansas on May 5th, Darlington for its spring date on May the 12th. And then the All-Star race in North Wilkesboro. Michael, a lot of folks, hard to tell how people feel about this racetrack, North Wilkesboro. I thought it was fine. And the All-Star race will be back there again for a second straight year. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited, but I kind of feel like the All-Star race should kind of maybe move around a little bit more.
Hopefully they will start shaking that one up a little bit more. From there, we will go to Worldwide Technology Raceway, Sonoma, for our second and final stop in California on June 9th. And June 16th, this one's exciting. We're going to Iowa Speedway for the first time in Cup's history. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I'm excited too, Daryl.
This is a world-class facility out there in Iowa, and it's finally earning a Cup Series date, and I hope they put on a great race. So after Iowa, we will go to New Hampshire June 23rd and Nashville June 30th to round out the June slate. Now, June 7th, the July races will go to the Chicago Street Race July 7th, Pocono July 14th, and Indy back on the oval on July 21st. Now, the Chicago Street Race was fun, but, Michael, the return of the Brickyard 400?
Yes!
You gotta love it. We are back on the oval.
Love to see it. I cannot wait for that race. I think it's going to be fun with this package.
Yep. With this next-gen car, it is going to be fun.
Yep.
So we will then go, after Indy, we have a 2-week break for the Olympics. We will come back August 11th at Richmond Raceway, and then Michigan and Daytona. The playoffs, or the regular season cutoff this year, will be at Darlington Raceway, or next year, sorry, before we start the playoffs, Michael, in Atlanta. Big time change up there with Atlanta being the start of the playoffs. Then we go Watkins Glen and Bristol in the first round. The second round stays the same with Kansas, Dega, and Charlotte. Third round, Las Vegas, Homestead, Miami, and Martinsville. And, of course, we will end the season in Phoenix. So that is your 2024 schedule. What do you think?
Phoenix.
I think we all
tired
are.
of Phoenix. But I like the change to the cutoff for the regular season being Darlington. I really like that.
I think it's going to be fun having Darlington there. Now, they changed that up because they did not want to move Darlington off the Labor Day spot to make Daytona the closer of the playoffs, and they have, or the regular season, sorry. And they said not to get too married to that spot of Daytona being the regular season finale. They may move that race around to another date, so that could be interesting. That makes you wonder if the Chicago Street Race doesn't stick around. Does Daytona go back to the July date? Personally, I think yes. What do you think?
I think yes, too. I think it's a great idea.
So that is how NASCAR will shake out. We'll now move into Formula One. And the big news is, other than the fact that Max Verstappen is going to win the championship, Andretti, one step closer to the F1 grid as they were approved by the FIA to be the 11th team. Now, the only issue going forward is what FOM will have to say, and as we have heard, they are monumentally against bringing a new team, but they're going to have to come up with a real good reason for not bringing that team in if they decide not to give Andretti that spot. But Michael will operate under the assumption that Andretti's coming. How excited are you to see another American team?
I'm excited for another American team, but I'm also even more excited for the engine that's going to be powering that team.
Yes, Cadillac will be developing that engine. And the question is, who's going to be the two drivers in that car? I think you have to get an American. So I think you might see a Colton Herta in that seat. But who do you get for that second seat?
I think you get a veteran F1 driver.
Mm-hmm.
And that seat is going to be enticing no matter what. I feel like with, Andretti and Cadillac on board,
mm-hmm.
you have the potential for a really good team.
And you're going to put a lot of pressure on Haas to perform as well, because that is going to be the team that they're going to be competing against. Now, I do not expect the same, I don't want to say same level of performance, but I'm not expecting the same start that Haas have. They're instantly in the points, but I think Andretti can put the right pieces together and can make a very successful outfit. Now, that depends on how FOM decides to mess with them in the contract talks, because if they're not going to get any of the rights money for like 3 years or whatever nonsense folks are talking about, that could hurt them, and that would be ridiculous to harm that team and slow their development, when really you should want your top team or your number one or your new teams to give them a chance to flourish. But there's a lot of, I don't want to say cronyism, but there's a lot of nonsense going on with whether or not we're going to get this 11th team.
Yeah, there's a lot of nonsense going on. I really want to get it because it's gonna bring a whole new player to the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And speaking of nonsense, take us through some of these rumors that you heard going on with Alpine.
So this comes from Formula Races on Twitter, and it states that there are divisions between the French and English personnel at Alpine.
Mm-hmm.
The team staff have been known to book separate hotels, and Renault CEO made it clear that this won't be tolerated. Now, I feel like there has been a lot of division in Alpine over the last couple of years. It's only now been brought to light this year because we've heard about it on, the news that Alpine has gotten rid of their team principal before. We already know that Ocon and Gasly do not like each other. This just really shows, that Alpine is really divided. Still.
Divided is one way to put it. This team they are not together at all, and it shows in the results. They have not had a great year by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think there's a part of this team that isn't in disarray at this point. And I don't know how you fix it other than a complete reset of operations, because this cannot continue. You have your staff divvied up by language.
Yes.
That's wasting your money, among other things. And Alpine is 6th in the standings, which is okay, but it's definitely not where they want to be.
It's where they want to be. It's never where they really want to be, because they're a factory team.
Yes.
At the end of the day,
I keep forgetting that
they are a factory team,
which no one remembers because they're so far down compared to the other factory teams in Mercedes and Ferrari, and technically Red Bull.
And so I'm just trying to figure out, remember in 2006 to like 2009 where they were actually like a threat?
Vaguely.
I kind of wish they would go back to those days, because they had potential. They had structure. Their leadership was questionable, but they had structure.
It seems the leadership thing is a theme, but you can't get back to that structure without having good leadership. And I don't know where they find good leadership at this point. We thought they had it with Habitable. That didn't go well. We thought they had it with the last leadership. That didn't go well. So I just don't know how you fix this.
I don't know. Maybe a complete rebrand of leadership, like you said. Because this can't go on.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. But this week, we are going to Qatar, and more than likely, this is going to be the wrap-up of Max Verstappen's third championship. In fact, all he needs is 3 points during the weekend over Sergio Perez. And
he literally needs to just finish the sprint race. That's it.
Yep.
I've never heard of a championship being won in a sprint race.
Well, obviously we didn't have the sprint races before, but it is ridiculous.
I didn't think it would ever happen, but here we are.
Yep.
So get ready to hear the Dutch national anthem on the extra mile. Me and Daryl will be having our eardrums bleeding hearing it.
All right. I'll have to grab that for next week, but that is where we are. It has been an entertaining Formula One season, but it comes to an end this coming Sunday. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, there's some exciting news in the world of sports cars. And before we go, just looking at the chat, Larry B says, let's end the season in Watkins Glen. I think it's going to be too cold to end the season up there. That is Chris's neck of the woods, and it is very cold. Last I checked. But hey, we'll be right back here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Notorious Live.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That gives you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour, every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter. At any time, be happy to reply. Always want to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we're back here in the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Daryl and Michael here with you this evening. It's time to get into some sports cars because this week we got the big news, Michael, that Aston Martin, the Valkyrie as a race car, is going to become a reality after all.
Yep. It's going to become a reality, and it's going to be racing in the WEC.
And IMSA WeatherTech as well. Excited to see this car. It's going to be a V12 non-hybrid engine in this hypercar. So it might have some fuel efficiency issues, but you can't beat 1,000 horsepower. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see how this car gets down against the LMDHs and the hypercars. And Michael, what is your hope for the car?
I think it'll perform very well, but it's going to be tough to beat the likes of Toyota, Ferrari, and whoever else looks good next year. Because you got Lamborghini, and then you got BMW. You have a lot of competition.
Yeah. Don't forget you got Cadillac, and also you've got Cadillac, and you've got Acura over here in the U.S. So got a lot of competition. Should be fun, and hopefully we will see other hypercars coming over here at some point. I would like to see the Alpine get over here. I mean, I would like to see more, but I guess we don't have the pits. So the LMP3s are
We had to get rid of a whole category for these hypercars, and you want more?
Well, both category or both class or both series had to get away or get rid of cars. Because in WEC, the LMP2s are going away.
Yep. I mean, where else would have... If you would have kept them, there would have been too many cars on track.
Yeah. They just don't have the room in the pits. But it'll be exciting to see that. And the championship...
Which is crazy when you think about it. A sport has too many people wanting to race.
That's a good problem to have, to be honest.
It's a very good problem to have.
So the other good news is we do have the Petit Le Mans coming up this weekend. That will be the wrap-up of the IMSA WeatherTech season, a 10-hour race to wrap up the championship. And this will also be where we'll be saying goodbye to the factory Corvette program that'll be going away at the end of this year. And Michael, so many great memories of Corvette racing, but they are gone but not forgotten, and we will also have some customer Corvettes racing next year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, but such a legendary team is going away, Daryl. I cannot believe it.
Mm-hmm. It's really sad, but that is how things kind of just worked out with the changes to the GT category, and now they will be going forward to making a GT3 competitor that hopefully can match the winning pedigree of the GTE car, because at one point Corvette was the gold standard of GT racing when it comes to Le Mans.
They were the gold standard. They were the team everybody wanted to be a part of, so I hope they can definitely hold the candle to them. They got a lot of big shoes to fill, but I feel like they can do it.
And that's not the only big race internationally happening this year. We're also getting Bathurst on Saturday. I'll be watching that on V8 SuperView. The Bathurst 1000, one of the greatest races in the world, over 6 hours of racing in V8 supercars. The Fords and the Chevys will be going at it. I will be trying to watch as much of this race as possible, switching between it and the IMSA broadcast. It's always a lot of fun when we get to the endurance season of racing in Australia, but this Bathurst Mount Panorama, it is a completely different beast, and this track, it'll test you. And whoever wins this race, whichever pair of drivers, they will absolutely be champions.
Yeah, and they got the team behind them to make it happen, so hopefully they will be in good hands.
And hopefully that no one will hit a kangaroo. I was about to say a deer, but a kangaroo or something during the race, because that tends to happen.
I was going to say we have kangaroo in America.
Sadly, no.
Okay.
you look around when it comes to this, or when it comes to Bathurst. It is like on an actual mountain on Mount Panorama, and there's a lot of wildlife around there. Usually, only affects. It's most often to affect the Bathurst 12-hour that happens during their summer or winter in February, because that race starts at night and goes into the day, kind of the inverse 12-hour race. But they still have some issues with the wildlife during this race as well. And the other thing is they have to do brake changes for this 1,000-kilometer event. You know, the brakes they use, they're good, but they will not stand up to the full test. So you got to be able to make that brake change quickly, and seconds lost getting those brakes connected could be the difference between winning and even making it to the podium.
Yeah, I can imagine they would need to change the brakes, especially at you said Bathurst, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, braking downhill like that. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine it.
Yeah, coming down the Conrad straight as well. Going to be a lot of challenge for those drivers. That race will be starting around 7:15 in the evening. If you have V8 Superview, make sure you have that. Make sure you have a pot of coffee on, because you're not going to bed for a while. I'll be trying to stay up for it as long as I can. But this is going to be a long, late race, and I cannot wait. So that will bring us to our nearest the win for this weekend. We have the Qatar Grand Prix, and also we have racing this weekend. We have the Cup Series race at Charlotte. I'm going to take Martin Truex Jr. for Charlotte, and I'm going to wrap up our nearest win picks for Mercedes, and I'm going to take Lewis Hamilton one more time. Michael, who you got?
All right, so for the Roval, that's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This guy has managed to sneak wins in ways that I have no idea how he is able to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Chris Buescher.
Okay.
I think he sneaks a win.
All right.
And for Formula One, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Now, who you got for Formula One?
I think I got a Red Bull pick, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Verstappen. He's just, go ahead, win the championship.
All right, I've seen enough. All right, well, good luck to everyone's race picks this week, and hopefully we have some great races this week. It's going to be a great weekend of racing, and I hope you can catch as much of it as possible. We're going to get ready to say goodnight for this evening. If you want to talk to me, I'm at DK Jr. 12. Michael's at Michael_War25. Make sure you follow all of our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and TikTok as well. And make sure to follow the IE Sports Radio pages over there as well. And make sure you check out the website, iesportsradio.com. Get yourself some swag, listen to the shows, read up a little bit about your favorite host. And if you missed any episode of any IE Sports Radio show, make sure you check out the YouTube repository and anywhere you can get your podcasts. That'll wrap it up for this edition of the Extra Mile. For Michael, I'm Daryl. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.